The Big Ten on CBS. Inclement weather moving kickoff back some 3 hours, which included at least 900 lightning strikes in West Lafayette, Indiana, where they honored the great quarterback, Gary Danielson. In 1971, he led the Big Ten in passing for Purdue. Final season on CBS, and they honored him at halftime. And he got to call a pretty good game here between USC and Purdue. Jayden Maiava to Tanook Hines, 25-yard gainer. What a catch there. Later in the drive, Maiava keeps it himself. He's in. USC up 10-0. Caps a 10-play, 80-yard touchdown drive for the Trojans. Next USC drive, Waymond Jordan jukes a defender, powers his way in. Trojans up 17-3. USC's 12th rushing touchdown this season. Mid-third, Purdue down 20-3, and this is wacky. Ryan Brown hits Michael Jackson III out of the backfield. Jackson back to Brown, nearly picked off by Jarrett Gentry. Refs don't blow the whistle, and Brown picks it up, and he takes it in the end zone. Plays reviewed, make sure it was a backwards pass. His call's upheld. It's a good play. Boilermakers down 20-10. How about that? Just how they drew it up. Ensuing Purdue drive, they give it away. Brown leveled. Look at Jamal Jarrett. 6'5", 360, rumbling, 70 yards for the pick six. Love to see that for that young man. USC up 30-10. First USC defensive tackle with a pick six since 1999. Yeah, we track that stuff. Mid-fourth, Brown picked off by Bishop. Fitzgerald, second INT of the game for him. Trojans win this one 33-17. Purdue had 3 turnovers in this game. USC's defense, 5 sacks as they win it and start 3-0 or better for the third time in 4 seasons under Lincoln Riley. They get it done defensively as they're able to stay perfect 3-0 on the road in West Lafayette. This Big Ten on CBS Postgame Report is presented by Belfour Property Restoration. Back here with Cardale Jones and Adam Breneman. And Adam, look, this defensive job done by USC really is what helped them win this game. You saw Jamal Jarrett with the pick six, but just the pressure they were able to bring against Brown in that offense.
Lincoln Riley knew what he had to do to compete for a championship at USC. It was improve that defense. He went out and hired Danton Lynn as his defensive coordinator, and he has changed the entire trajectory of this USC defense, the vibe, the confidence they have. And USC flew around in this game. Jarrett Gentry had 3 sacks for USC. We saw the forcing the 3 turnovers. This is the defense that's making plays, and then you combine it with an offense that can take care of the football, push the ball down the field, all the playmakers they have on offense. I love USC this year because it's the first offseason I can remember where USC doesn't have a ton of hype going into it. And when USC plays physical without a ton of hype, that's their best brand of football.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a cliche that defense wins championships, but you look at this game, it was a lot closer than the scoreboard shows. You look at the stats, the time of possession within 9 minutes, and then first downs are pretty much similar. Purdue actually had a better percentage on third down, each team going 100% on fourth down. But when you talk about defense win championships, Lincoln Riley and that staff is finally starting to adjust to the Big Ten style of play, the physicality, I mean, from the players, from the play style. And then you look at the 2 differentiator things here. USC was able to hold these guys under 65 yards rushing for the game. And on top of that, limiting the turnover battle by capitalizing on 3 of these turnovers, turning them to points.
USC 3-0 or better for the third time in 4 seasons under Lincoln Riley. Where do we anticipate resistance as we take a look at their upcoming schedule? It's Michigan State, then at Illinois, and then against Michigan. It's really that gauntlet right there early on, and then they've got another road game against Notre Dame. So if USC going to have a chance to be competitive here in the Big Ten, Adam, I mean, it's a gauntlet coming up for them on their schedule.
Yeah, and you can't ignore the game at the end of the year at Oregon as well.
Right.
I mean, you got the Big Ten stuff. I mean, arguably the best conference in football, at least at the very top. That's why this physicality for USC is so important. there's no doubt that USC can score points. We know that. That's been the case with Lincoln Riley everywhere he's been. It's can they run the football well, and it's can they make plays on defense? Can they force turnovers? And that defensive line got pressure consistently against Purdue. And Jayden Maiava, their new quarterback, USC's new quarterback, was able to turn those turnovers into points. That's the brand of football that will allow USC to compete in the Big Ten this season.
Would you want to play in this USC offense?
I would love to. I mean, with a mastermind like Lincoln Riley, his track record speaks for himself. I think 3 to 4 Heisman Trophy winning quarterbacks under his resume on top of, they throw the ball all around the field.
Yeah.
But when was the last time we watched and talked about a USC game and they had more rushes than pass attempts? Well, that was today. Like I said, they're starting to get adjusted to that Big Ten formula because at the end of the day with the Big Ten, you got to be able to run the ball late in November to ultimately put yourself in position to compete for a Big Ten championship.
Playing some Big Ten football is USC as they get a win on the road. And look, a valiant effort for Purdue. Look, they're off to a 2-1 start. That's more wins than they had all of last season. And Barry Odom comes in and try to rebuild something there. And look, this is a proud program, Adam. But when you're going up against USC and coming in that their offense is averaging the most yards per play in FBS, that's tough to slow down.
Yeah, Barry Odom's doing a nice job at Purdue. He's bringing some confidence back to that program that struggled for a long time. I think the matchup that was interesting in this game was Barry Odom coached Jayden Maiava, USC's quarterback, at UNLV. So he kind of had an inside knowledge to how Jayden Maiava thinks, and USC was still able to come out on top of this one, and Jayden Maiava was still able to play well. So Purdue has a lot to figure out, but there is some positives in this game, and they were in this game for the first half.
For Purdue, unfortunately, their 10th straight conference loss. They'll look to turn that around as they continue their schedule. Time now for the player of the game presented by Belfour Property Restoration. And look, Cardale, you could go anywhere on the board, really, because there's a lot of players that were that contributed in this game. Who are you going with?
This is a good game, and I got to piggyback and double down on what I talk about the defense. And I got to go with the big guy up front, Jamal Jarrett. I can guarantee you, USC did not think they'd be seeing this guy run down the field for 70-yard pick six when they got him out the transfer portal from Georgia at 6'5", 360 pounds. But outside of this great play, this interception right here, I know he was winded because I was winded just watching this. He does the dirty work. He does the dirty work. I talked about how USC gave up only 62 rushing yards for the game, but a big guy like that up front, he's two-gapping guys. He's demanding the double team and giving those second-level defenders free run and free range really to make limited gains for the running backs and ball carriers on the Purdue side of the ball.
He's keeping that football forever, probably.
For sure. Rightfully so.
No, he should, as he should. How about to double down on the defense? Jarrett Gentry had a phenomenal game for USC. He's the kind of edge player that this USC defense has been missing in prior years. We recruited Jarrett Gentry when I was coaching at Arizona State. He's 6'5", 6'6", maybe 6'7", long arms, but also can play physical on the edge. He had 3 tackles for loss. He had 2 sacks, 2 forced fumbles in this game. That length allows him to be so disruptive on the edge. Tackles are too slow to get to him. Running backs can't block him, and he uses those arms to bat passes down and get the ball in the air. And tips and overthrows, you got to get those.
Yes.
Jarrett Gentry does that so well.
2 of the 5 sacks they had as a team. He had 8 solo tackles. I mean, that is worthy of have a day, kid. USC over Purdue on CBS. Not this afternoon. It was actually at night because the game got pushed back. A finish here just after 10 p.m. Eastern time. USC with 165 points through 3 games. That's their 3rd most in USC history. How about that? USC off to a 3-0 start. 3-0 or better for the 3rd time in 4 seasons under Lincoln Riley.